Hi folks, welcome back to whether you're viewing this on my YouTube channel or on one of my blog posts. It's good to see you again. You might recall just recently I did a little video clip on the use of this camera, the Pentax Sfxn, which was an all manual focus, manual everything camera, but it had of course automatic overrides. But you can look back on my channel and you can see the review or the talk I gave about this one. I used this for weddings for many years, but the camera that replaced it for me, I used to teach a little bit of wedding photography to some people, and this chap asked me to come and watch him operate. He set up a couple of models to take photos with one day in a park and at his house, and he had this one here, which was my next camera that I got, the Pentax Sfxn. I think it's the S1FN, I think, in other countries overseas, and this was the first autofocus camera that I ever got. And you might have heard that, you heard the little beep when it goes off when it's in focus. This was the first autofocus camera I got, and it's a nice chunky camera, and I started using this for weddings, and I found it very nice. And I was up until this and when I saw his camera and what he did, some of the shots he took with it, all on program and all on automatic focus and everything, I thought, wow, that's pretty impressive. So this is why I jumped from the other one, the Pentax Sfxn, to this one. And one of the good things, of course, is that all the Pentax lenses fit on all the Pentax cameras, so that's a big bonus whenever you buy into the Pentax system. I've been with the Pentax system for quite a long time, even though I started off with Pentax, but these days I shoot a lot of Canon digital, and also I've got a couple of Nikon digital SLRs, older school ones where they didn't even have video on them, but they're still good cameras and lenses to go with that. So I alternate between my cameras and my film cameras. So that's the story there. The reason I got into the Pentax Spotmatic in the first place was that I saw a young lad, this is back in the 70s, he had one, a Pentax Spotmatic. I'd never seen an SLR before, and I was so impressed with what he was doing with it, and he showed me what it looked like through the viewfinder and everything, that I started off with the Pentax Spotmatic, and I stuck with the Pentax system pretty much all the way through. I've now also got, I don't know what I've done with them now, Pentax KX and KR, which is, where are we? This is the Pentax KR, which is a nice compact little camera, and once again that takes all the lenses, and I love that camera. I've also got the Pentax KX, which was the one before that, and the first digital one I got was the Pentax, whoops, I'll just get this one out. The Pentax ISTD, which is this one here, and this was my first ever digital SLR, 6 megapixels, and it still works, and I still love using it, and you get really nice photos. Let's see if I can, oh, it's a bit far away to focus with this zoom lens on it, but anyway, I can, no, that's too close for this zoom lens. Anyway, so I've been with Pentax a long time, and of course the beauty of Pentax is that back in those days, before we had the internet, they used to advertise in all the camera shops. That's the Pentax A3, that's the Sfxn. They had these beautiful brochures which were as good as a manual in many ways. The Program A, the Pentax P30T, the Pentax Z1, which was the new professional one that replaced the replaced the Pentax LX, I suppose. Anyway, this was the professional autofocus one, but that was replaced by the Pentax MZS, which I have as well. The Pentax 6x7, a general brochure on all the cameras, and they had the lenses, and of course you get all the manuals as well. Here's the manual I have for the Pentax Sfxn. But these cameras are very intuitive. So some of the things that I like about this particular camera, One is the autofocus. That was a game changer for me because I wear glasses and I was increasingly having difficulties with manual focus. Also the controls are fairly sort of push button and all that sort of thing here. If I can sort of show you the top of this, you can change your mode here. This one here, you turn this on here, slider, I don't know whether you can see that, or it's changing the modes. Just change the modes with that finger on the right. So that's pretty good. The controls are fairly easy to find, everything you want. The one thing that I dislike about it is this hot shoe up here on the right hand side of the camera. There's no PC socket, although you do have a well, this is different, of course. You've got a remote control socket over here that you can plug. I've got a remote control for it, but I've never really used it. But you need to plug your flash in with a hot shoe contact flash on your flash up onto here rather than on a PC socket on the side. I love the little pop-up flashes. That's pretty good. I don't know whether this one's working at all or not at the moment, but they were very good and very good for fill flash. So they're a lovely camera. It's got a digital or a data back on the back, but I never ever turned that on. You could put information on your photos and that sort of stuff. You've got a little window here where you can see what your film is. This one in here I have at the moment is a NPS 36 ISO 160. I used to use that for wedding photography. That's a Fuji colour film, colour negative film. So that's the Pentax Sfxn. I don't know there's much more I can tell you about it. Sorry, I should sit down again. Don't want to see my chest or whatever. And yeah, I did swap over to the Minolta 9000 when that came out. I found a second-hand one of those, which I still have, and that's a beautiful camera, but the autofocus was very, very slow on that. And then, of course, later on there was a whole range of cameras that started with our all autofocus after that. This one here is a nice little one called the MZ6, and that is a beautiful little camera as well. And that's, I used my MZS predominantly over the last few years of my film photography career when I was doing weddings, but this was always the backup one, the MZ6, and it's got a little battery pack on the bottom as well, which was a nice camera, and pretty straightforward to use. So that's a little bit of a wrap up on the Pentax Sfxn. What have I done with it now? I've usually got a little control here that turns this thing on and off. I've lost it. I'm going to have to press the button up here to stop the video in a minute. Anyway, so there you go. That's a bit rough and ready, but that's the Pentax Sfxn. It's a beautiful camera. I'm going to be reviewing some of these cameras as I go, and particularly I'm going to do the Pentax 645 coming up very soon. So once again, thanks for watching. I don't know whether that's useful or not for you, but if you want to make comments on the video, please do so, or if I put it on my blog, please, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Thanks for watching. Here we go.